Hey everyone, Spot of Nerd here with a brand new episode that I'm borderline ashamed to be reviewing, but at the same time, I'm doing this just to give credit to the fact that yes, even I, Spot of Nerd, can admit when there is a good movie, even if I absolutely despise the director. Hence the last episode, Joker 2, Folie à Deux. But what I'm getting at is, obviously, we review a lot of bad movies on this channel. I felt it was time, even if it's brief, we actually review a good movie that I recently just saw by none other than Kevin Smith. If you know him, you know him. If you don't, it's the dude that always wears the hockey jerseys. He was the guy that made Jay and Silent Bob.
I am the master of the clit. Remember this fucking face. Wherever you see clit, you'll see this fucking face. I make that shit work. No one rules a clit like me. Not this little fuck. None of you little fucks out there. I am the clit commander. When it comes down to business, this is what I do.
And he recently just did a film that went straight to DVD after about 24 hours of release in theaters because it was that terribly accepted or something, whatever that word is. But I actually felt it was pretty good. So we're going to talk about the 4:30 movie. So yeah, I'm pretty sure 99.9% of you right now are looking or listening to this and going, the what now? The what? The for what now? Huh? Did you mean to say 420? No, I'm not. No, that's just stupid. So anyway, I've got my phone this time because I want to go over some specifics in relation to the cast. They're absolute nobodies, but typical Kevin Smith movies. He obviously put his entire crew in the film. Rosario Dawson's in there. Some other people that you'll know when you see their faces. Obviously, Jay from Jay and Silent Bob is in there. His daughter is in there, who basically is now in every movie that he ever makes. Ming Chen, which you may know from Comic Book Men, or yours truly has actually been able to do a few interviews with him at San Diego Comic-Con. He's a super duper great guy, huge fan of his. And yeah, so he did this movie called the 4:30 movie, and it literally is all about a guy asking a girl out to a 4:30 movie. And here's the thing, it's absolutely adorable. It really, really is. Yours truly, Spot of Nerd. I shit you not, people. I'm giving this 3 cups of tea out of 4 from yours truly, Spot of Nerd. 3. It's that good. And it almost like, you know when you throw up in your mouth just ever so little? That's what I'm feeling right now. But at the same time, I do have to, once in a while, give you guys some positiveness, some positive reviews, because I do think it deserves it. I really, really do. Even though this movie barely made 5 minutes in theaters, it went straight to DVD/streaming. I would encourage you go watch it. Kevin Smith to me is a pompous ass. He thinks he's God's gift to the fandom world. He thinks he knows everything. You know, he does do good work. Jay and Silent Bob, Dogma, this movie right here, the 4:30 movie. He has made some bombs, obviously, but it's just his personality outside of his movies. He's just an asshole, and I'm just gonna say that bluntly because I'm pretty sure I'm not alone on that. I think it's just the fame got to him. It's a story we don't need to go down. The bottom line is I'm not the biggest fan of his, but I am a big fan of his movies. And even when they did the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, it actually wasn't that bad. It really, really wasn't. So I would encourage you, some of his stuff is pretty good. But what really kind of makes this new The 430, I'm just going to call it 430 movie, unique is that it's based in the late 1980s, early 1990s. And I absolutely love it in relation to that time period, because obviously with this channel, we talk politics, we talk about the world, we talk about everything else in between. And honestly, the older I get now, the more I miss the 90s. And it's a lot of nostalgia with this film. If you are somebody who's in your late 30s, maybe 40s, you will appreciate what Kevin Smith has done here in relation to taking you back to that time. I have to give a lot of credit as well. The soundtrack to this movie is amazing. There's a song they play throughout that's called like 24 Karat of Love, I think is the title. I'll have to put it in like the description thingy or something, but it's just such a great 80s song, you know? Imagine like the NSYNC of the day, but in the 80s. It's just really, really good. It makes you feel good. It's something you'll kind of just put on auto repeat on your stereo. So quick cliff notes of what this whole movie is about. And this is where my phone comes in because I obviously need to get cast. So you have Austin Zadger, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name, who plays Brian. And he's friends with some other guys, which we don't need to worry about right now. And he's obviously in love with Melody Barnegat, if I'm saying that right, who is played by Sienna Agudong. Again, I apologize if I'm butchering that. By the way, Sienna Agudong, I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Wow, that is a woman who, I am not afraid to say this out in the world, and you can call me creepy, you can call me whatever. I'm a very old school classic kind of guy. That girl is gorgeous, beautiful, not in a dirty, sick kind of way, but just a genuine, when that girl smiles, the world, like time actually stops. Wow, damn. So hasn't been in a lot, if I'm honest. I looked at, you look online, she's been apparently in Fast and the Furious. Totally random. But anyway, she plays the love interest, and the whole movie is about Brian asking her out to a 4:30 movie. Obviously, things get intertwined, like he's hanging out with his friends throughout the day, and then, of course, she can't go out to the movie until later in the evening, and shenanigans ensue. So, it's just that kind of, again, it brings back the nostalgia of those classic friends you used to have where you would just always hang out. You'd always give each other shit. But at the end of the day, you always loved each other. Deep down, you would never tell it to each other, but you just knew you would die for your friends. And, it's that kind of typical, they had the day off from work and they're just hanging out. There's no cell phones. There's no computers. It's just people hanging out, going to the movies. And again, this is a time where streaming didn't exist. 10 movies weren't playing at the same time. You didn't have all these other distractions. All you had was simply living the best life that you possibly could with hardly any distractions. And with Brian, his number one goal was simply to make sure that it has nothing to do with like sex or anything or dirty stuff, but he fell in love with this girl, Melody. Hold on, let me check. That is right. Yeah, Melody. And it's cute. It's adorable. It's that kind of high school love. And it's cheesy. And you do want to throw up a little bit. But I don't know. I guess what I really kind of appreciated with how he directed this was he's giving you that nostalgia piece. I've said nostalgia about 5 times now. But just to kind of take you back to a time period where that was okay. It was okay for people to fall in love. It was okay to compliment each other. It was okay to be honest and direct. And it was also a time period where people also didn't take themselves too seriously. Like, not to go down that road, but let's be honest. Today is a very different world. And I will always quote where I work. There was one time about maybe a year or so ago, one of my customers told me that we live in a self-diagnosed victimhood. And I will never forget that phrase because I think it is like nail on the forehead. Instead of just living the best lives that we can today, the majority of us are wondering, woe is me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't do this or I can't do that. Even though you have clean water, a roof over your head, blah, 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 blah. We don't need to go down that road. But I think that's really why I'm giving this such a high value review, if that's a phrase or word. But because it takes you back to, I'm at the age now, I'm not saying I'm old or anything like that, but it took you back to a time where this shit didn't fucking matter. It really didn't. What mattered was the foundation of your friends. What truly mattered was the love you had for your friends and your family, and life wasn't so crazy. And it's, again, just going back to that, like, you had movie theaters that had VHS tapes, and there's you have these managers of the theater who's played by you'll know him Ken Jeong. He's been in The Hangover and stuff like that. He's absolutely hilarious in this film. Plays this tries to be badass supervisor for the theater, and it's just amazing. It really, really is. And I would encourage you so much, if you can, check it out on streaming service, because you're not gonna see it in theaters. It's fucking too late for that. But, and I gotta give a little credit as well. My last thing before I wrap this episode up. This is probably the first time in a while that I've seen a Kevin Smith movie that actually gave me a good laugh. Like, there is one scene in the movie. So, the guys are in the theater. They're about to start one of their movies before he ends up going out with Melody. And so they're doing a trailer. And his trailer is his daughter plays a nun, but at night she's a prostitute. And it's like, it's that classic 80s vibe trailer.
She is unlike any nun you've ever met, and she's got a secret.
How come the nuns were never secret hookers when we were in school?
Let's see what's under that wig.
Oh, hell no! Say a prayer for Sister Sugar Walls.
What?
We're definitely seeing that.
But it's just, I laughed my ass off because, she's being all this happy-go-lucky nun during the day, but by night, she's a hooker. It's just fucking hilarious. Like, it's so dumb, but it is fucking hilarious. It really, really is. And huge spoiler, huge spoiler, if it really fucking matters. Obviously, at the end of the film, Brian and Melody do end up together. They end up falling in love. He asks her to be his girlfriend, and she says absolutely. And it's just that beautiful love story. It's the love story that, like, I've said this before on previous episodes about, I think a lot of the movies nowadays try to avoid this. And I think, yeah, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, that is probably what's really nailing the coffin, even though that sounds kind of negative, but go with me. They aren't afraid to show it in this film. Other movies, like Twisters we talked about, they don't even, they're spending 2 hours building this huge love story, and they don't even kiss each other on the cheeks or even hold their hand or whatever it is. But in this movie, Kevin Smith wasn't afraid to make that happen. He wasn't afraid to show two people falling in love and showing it on the camera scene, you know what I'm talking about. And it was beautiful. It's a beautiful thing because, you have two people that they're just young, they're in love, they don't even know what the hell they're going to be doing the rest of their life, but they are in that moment. And to me, that is something special. It really, really is. So go and watch it. If you want a feel-good movie, something that'll just make you nostalgic, you'll love the soundtrack, you'll have a good chuckle. If you're a fan of Kevin Smith and his crew, you'll obviously know them. Go and check this film out. You really, really will enjoy it. I promise you. And I cannot believe just that I'm giving so much praise to a Kevin Smith film where the film lasted maybe 2 hours in theaters before it was pulled and went straight to DVD service, streaming things. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I would love you all so much. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button right down below. Give me the likes. Throw me the comments. Am I completely nuts for thinking what you just heard if you got this far? Are you going to go check it out? Do it. Just do it for me, just so I have some form of backup, please. Pretty please. But yeah, anyway, I figured it was time we get something positive out there. Until next time though, folks, we we'll see you guys in our next outing. I'm trying out different ending things, but we'll just go with that. So later. So even to give you another quick example of the nostalgia piece of that time period, you know, the 80s, the 90s, where, you know, if you went to the movie theaters and your mom calls, they literally have a handheld device where the manager, who's obviously a total dick, he basically goes and pulls Brian out of the theater. They're watching a movie, and he's like, your mom's on the phone. And it just, again, it hits that piece of, oh my god, I've been there. I mean, I don't really recall my mother ever calling a movie theater, but I do recall where it's like you might have been at a sleepover with a friend, or you might have been at a party or something, and you know, the person who's hosting it, their parents are basically saying, hey, your mom's on the phone, she needs to talk to you real quick. Because, and it's that piece of like, there was no cell phones, there's no texting, there's no, you know, there's no immediate relation to like, I have a device that I can just shoot a message out super quick. It was a time period where if you needed to get a hold of somebody, it was a task. It was a genuine task to try and get a hold of somebody. And if it was an emergency, God forbid, it was crazy. But it's that we all grow up too fast, you know? And I'm not going to go down that road right now. I could go down so many different paths, but you know, I've hit that point in my own life positively where I can look back and go, man, I miss those days. I really, really do. And I'm sure you do too if you're old enough. I miss those times, and the really cliche part, all of it. You never know when the last time is. You know, whether the last time you saw that movie with your girl or the last time you fell in love. It was the last time. And it's unfortunate. And luckily, this will not be the last time you see this beautiful face. So, gonna go kick my own ass.